Hello everybody, it's me, TONIK TZW, here with Kraken number 108 in the Tier 6 British Premium Battleship, the Nelson, and I've called this one Not on Your Nelly, which is a kind of British saying which means like kind of no way, is probably the best way I can describe it in other languages. And we're here on Two Brothers, and this time we aren't going to go up the middle, we're going to play both flanks. And we were doing pickups on live stream tonight. We had Bored Bootneck in with his Fiji, Chin was in the carrier, which I will agree does give us a little bit of an advantage when playing in a division. But let's get into the game. I'm trying to decide on where I'm going to position myself, because it's not often that I play big battleships, and I'm not sure about the best place to put myself here. So I decide that what I'm going to do is go forwards and find myself a little bit of cover and at least try to get my guns into range of a few things. Now, the reason I like the Nelson is because literally you can take a lot of damage, and you can also heal a lot of damage too. And I kind of forget about these big massive heals until later in the game, and literally they are going to save my life, because I certainly wasn't expecting a game of this magnitude. Now, I have had people come past some of the Kraken videos before and they go, oh, you were down tiered, it was easy. Oh, you had the carrier, it was easy. It's not easy, because for us going into a match, we are looking for divisions, and we will purposely try to take people out that are in division, because it greatly reduces the effectiveness of the enemy team. If you can take one ship out of a division, that's two people that now don't have a third to talk to. But it can be a little bit of an advantage, because that person then gets a free camera to zip around the map as and when things are going on. It's an extra set of eyes. I know that Algery has probably got range on me, so I'm going to make sure that I try to put some shells on him as soon as possible, and we get a couple of reasonable hits on him there. And I think Chin is also going in to try and give him a slap. Now, the Italian battleship, I think it's a Caracciolo, he has that wonderful roll and smoke, which means that he can stay hidden and let his secondaries do the work. We know that the Algery is now bow tanking and backing out, but we're going to put another salvo out his way. We get a couple of tickles again, nothing major, but I want him to know that I am looking at him, because he is going to be looking at what I'm doing and not necessarily looking at the ships that he does need to be shooting at. Now, I pulled the trigger there on a salvo, don't realise I've got the island in the way, and we completely fluff it and put the shots behind him. Now, I know that Caracciolo is going to come in as well, and I'm going to turn, and I'm not the best at angling battleships, but I'm going to do my best to give this guy as little skirt as possible while I try to get my guns on him. He is going to turn, and he's going to try and give me all of his guns, and for that I was going to punish him. But I decided that rather than burn to death from the Algery, we're going to get rid of him first, and a Citadel gives us first blood with literally 4 minutes into the game, which is nice to see that we haven't lost half a team within 4 minutes. Bored Bootneck is there in the Fiji doing his absolute damnedest to do the damage he can, but that Caracciolo, using his roll and smoke, has pushed in very close. We've also got a Z35 out there on the flank, and so I want to try and dispatch this Caracciolo. We get a good hit on him, and to be frank, we might have killed him if we'd have fired that other salvo at him first instead of the Algery, But the Scone there has got his torpedoes on, and those are going to connect and take that guy out of the game. But unfortunately, we lose Bored Bootneck, who is a long-time viewer and a very friendly chap. And we had some good games with, I think, 4 or 5 people tonight, picking them up as being the third person in the division. Now the Z35 is, yeah, he's hunting the carrier. And if you look at the north end of Red Team's base cap, you'll see that our destroyer, once we had taken care of this flank, decided that he was going to push all the way around and chase the carrier, and got deleted for the sake of it. Our other destroyer is now trying a similar thing, but he's going to be smart in the way that he does it. We get a fire on the Z35 because we have switched to HE for a destroyer. We know we're outside of his torpedo range, and I also know that Chin is going to keep him spotted until such time as we make him disappear. So Chin gets a torpedo on. He is an absolutely brilliant carrier player. This cruiser is very obviously staring down his gun barrels, but as I get bombed, I get a salvo off, and there goes the destroyer. He is taken care of. At this point in the game, we've cleared this flank. Our other destroyer has pushed down, and he is going to skirt the outside edge of that cap, and I think he's going to be basically putting torpedoes across it and trying to do what he can. But there is a Duker out there, and those Italian cruisers can be very nasty against destroyers. And as smart as that DD is going to play, he isn't going to survive for much longer, especially given that the carrier planes are sort of traversing to and from across their cap. So rather than push down the right flank, rather than push through the centre, I decide that it's looking a little bit sticky across on the left flank, because the battleship and the cruiser out there, who've been parked behind rocks, surprise, surprise, are getting hammered by Red Team's carrier. There is still a red destroyer unsighted, but Chin said to make sure that I mention that I spent probably half of the next 7 minutes clenching my butt cheeks and begging for him to spot where this destroyer is, because there are far too many torpedoes come in my direction here. I am pushing across to help these guys, but they aren't going to help me, because the battleship there is going to take a full load of torpedoes. I'm trying to get a salvo off while I'm unsighted, and the cruiser, I think it's a Nuremberg, is going to basically turn tail and kite away. Now I know he has got 2 turrets on the back, and kiting was probably the best thing that he could do in this situation. But while I distracted these 2 battleships, it would be really, really useful if he'd have tried to get some eyes on the destroyer. We get 2 turrets at the Bayern, and we see the North Carolina there. He is going to turn into the island. Now Chin is going to drop some bombs on him and get him on fire, and because his damage control is ticking, I'm going to ignore him, and that is going to cost me a fair chunk of hit points in a few moments. So Bayern's pretty much broadside. I know now that they're going to try and push for a flank fire on me, so I put 2 turrets at the Bayern, and I'm getting this other turret ready for the North Carolina. At the same time, I'm wondering where the next salvo of torpedoes are coming from. But there we go, straight through the front. Now I'm lucky in that I have got those heels, and I decide that I'm not going to give that North Carolina a second chance. Chin is running in on him with torpedoes. He's pulling out. That's what she said. And so I'm just going to bang the salvos across there and get rid of him. Now, momentarily, there was a cruiser spotted there, but I didn't realise that because my attention had switched to this buy-in. The cruiser out there is a Pensacola. Nuremberg is still running away. I'm asking him for help. I don't know what he's doing, and so I decide that I'm just trying to go in and do what I can with this buy-in. It's not a good position to be in. I know he has good secondaries. I know the aircraft carrier has been focusing this side of the map. I know there's still a destroyer out there somewhere. But I put some HE onto the bow tanking buy-in because AP probably isn't going to do a great deal to him unless I go through his superstructure. I'm so fixated on this guy, I actually forget to hit my secondary booster. I'm going to let this fire burn, and as and when the time is right, I am going to hit my heel and not quite reprint myself another ship, but I can't afford to let that damage control be on cooldown while that Pensacola is out there. He can put me on fire, he can probably slap me with some AP if he wanted to, but while we're waiting for the reload here to go on the buy-in, Chin swoops in with some torpedoes and picks that guy up, which leaves me free to pick on the Pensacola. And although he's backing out and he's slightly angled, 3 turrets from the Nelson gives us 7 hits on him, and he's got a decision now, because I'm not going to camp behind this island. I'm not going to sit here and wait for the fight to come to me. I am going to continue to take the fight to them, all the while try to avoid all these torpedoes that keep coming in on me. And I'm telling Jin, spot that bloody destroyer, let's get rid of him. Third set of torps coming through. They're kind of limiting my movement. I can't turn to the right, I'm going to have to turn to the left. There's bombers coming in now from the carrier who, judging by where his last spotted position was, has run for the back corner of the map. I'm still quite healthy with 33,500 hit points, which is what? Just slightly more than 50%. But I want this Pensy, and he makes the mistake of coming out broadside to me. I am going to slap the living daylights out of him, and then we are going to continue to push. The bombers are coming around again. I know that the DD who is left is behind me, so I am going to continue to go away from him. I didn't know where the cruiser was, but he just appears. I take a crap ton of damage from those 2 bombs, so have no decision other than to put the fires out and start a heal. But we get 3 turrets on the Duker, pick up Kraken Unleashed with a Confederate and a High Calibre at the same time, and that is Kraken 108. I've still got pretty much half my hit points left, but I am not going to have those forever. Chin is pushing all the way up the map. The destroyer is chasing tail on Chin. The match isn't won yet. Chin seems to think we have it in the bag because there's a minute and a half on the clock, but with the carrier coming in at me and a destroyer chasing Chin in our carrier, I am not so confident. So I am going to just keep moving, twisting and turning. Bomb, we take a torpedo on the nose. I'm out of heals now. I've got to let that flood tick, and this guy is going to come round and have another go at me. So I'm looking for where the planes are running in from, and I'm going to turn away from him and literally just try to soak damage as and where I can. Although I am shooting planes down, it's not the best AA. There we go. I take 2 torpedoes on the back end, and I have to damage control that flood. We have 40 seconds on the clock. I'm thinking about how far away he is, but he's coming in for one last run, and I've slowed down and turned just enough to avoid that one, and that is going to be the saving grace, because with 20 seconds left on the clock, he has not got enough time to get another set of planes onto me. And I'm crossing my fingers and my toes, and I'm praying to the gods of the seas to let this clock run down before this guy gets in on me. So here we go, 3, 2, 1, and we pick up a dreadnought to add to the other medals. Just under 115,000 damage, 5 kills, almost had the buy-in as well. Could have had the Caracciolo, but I'll settle for a 5-kill Kraken any day of the week. Just under 2,600 base XP, with Chin coming in second, and although Bored Bootneck didn't pick up a kill, he did put up a solid defense there on the side. So I hope you've liked this video. Please do hit the like button, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and if you'd like to see more of my Krakens, you can hit this playlist or watch the video in the link. Until next time, take care and goodbye.